wasn't there another child?
Mike, pull up your genealogy
Yeah,
thing
Jim.
that you show.
I can't even remember now. You know what I mean? My
Uncle-
memory's
my Uncle
starting
Jim.
to...
We've had so much fun trying to
Yeah,
get to
there
know
was another-
family, thanks to you guys.
Yeah.
It's just been
What?
so
Uncle
neat.
Jim.
Can you
Oh,
see
Uncle
Grandpa?
Jim. That's right. Jim
Yeah.
Fitzgerald.
You know, he had an uncle that went out west many years ago and just disappeared.
Really?
Yeah. Never heard from him again.
Yeah, but that was a Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Charles Kelly? I think Charlie. Uncle
He went
Charlie.
west?
He went out west and
He went out
disappeared.
west
They never
and
heard from
they
him.
never
again.
heard from him
Grandpa.
again.
That's what Grandpa did. Francis. You know?
Well, it's not that we never heard from him again. We
Yeah.
didn't hear from him very often, but we did hear
Yeah.
from him.
Yeah, you did know where he was.
He came to my door. We were just married, right? We had freedom, right?
Yeah.
And he knocks on my door. I had no idea he was even coming. I didn't know he was.
Huh.
He just appeared. Like he just came for a visit. Which was fine. Except that
Yeah.
we didn't know he was coming.
Yeah, I remember he was young when he went out west. He was in the service. He was in the Air Force.
Yeah,
I think he was only 21 or 19, something like that. Somewhere around
I
19
believe
or
he's
20,
about 21 right there.
something like that.
Mom was up making bullets for the war, and that's where they met up in Salt Lake.
Uh
Yeah, I always liked your mother. She was a sweet person.
No, that's just a mean old woman trying to get in heaven, Uncle Pat.
I remember the time when she was smoking, and that, of course, was against the religion. And she was in the dining room in the house on 10th Street, smoking away. The little guys or you guys, Michael and you guys were all little, and they were supposed to be napping. And they must have woken up, and they came running into the dining room, and she quick threw the butt up into the chandelier on top of it.
Who did this?
She was a closet smoker. She never let us boys know she thought we didn't know she smoked.
Right,
Smoking,
yeah.
right.
But she finally quit.
huh.
She finally did quit. But she was a closet smoker for all those years, thinking that we didn't know, and we
Who
just
could
didn't-
have cared less?
we could have cared less whether she did or not. I think she was more worried about her mother finding out than anything.
Yeah.
Right.
One of my favorite lines is when Michael would leave out the window looking at the black kids going to school and say, Howard, come here, Mom, look at all the Indians.
Yeah.
Mike. Uncle Mike.
Yeah.
She thought they were Indians.
Yeah, Francis used to tease about how the boys thought they were black Indians. Are these black Indians? He didn't know what the black people were.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, remember when you guys
Well,
came in
there's
here?
still, I think there's. Is there any black? There's no black people in our town, is there?
Yeah, we have those little Musas have adopted two,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so have
No,
little
yeah.
children. But yeah,
But I mean, no families.
No families.
First one I ever saw was in middle
St.
school.
George, they've moved to.
If you had moved into St. George,
Yeah, it's amazing when
Yeah. Grew out in the middle of nowhere.
nowhere. One time I took our Joseph Lincoln bus here, the 66 bus, right where I was going, but he was about 4 or 5, I think. And I didn't realize it, but in this neighborhood there hadn't been any black people in his lifetime. And we got on the bus, and there's a black guy sitting on in the seat on the side. He got the seat right in front of him. He actually turned around to face the guy and held on to the back of the seat and kept staring at him.
Oh, here's when you ought to crawl in a hole, right?
Another time I had him in the car going down to pick up an auto part down in a really bad neighborhood in Philadelphia. And it really, tell you how bad it was. The houses were all boarded up and the windows all broken out. And we're going down the street, 2nd Street, 2nd and Diamond, and I stopped for the light, and he's looking around and I'm watching him. He's looking around me. And he very seriously said to me, Dad, did this place get bombed?
There's a lot of boarded up houses and stuff down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even then, not long ago, because Joe just turned 40.
A lot down by the dental school.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Because you're in North Philadelphia there,
Yeah, not the best.
Yep.
So.
No, we're glad he had the experience, and it was especially nice to get to know you guys. But we're glad to get him back home.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
long
about
way.
time.
It's a long trip.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, life keeps going on, life changes, days change, and one day is different from the next, and life keeps going on. You never know where you're gonna wind up or where you're gonna be.
Yeah. True.
That's true.
Your father was one of those guys who was always machinating, always thinking, and trying to come up with a way to make a buck.
Yeah. Don't think he ever did though.
Never came up with an idea.
No, but they sold Christmas trees. They sold about everything they could to try to
Oh,
make a
yeah.
go of it.
He was a sheriff out there.
Yeah, he was sheriff.
He also owned the pool hall, the pool room.
I know, because you couldn't do one thing wrong in that small town without somebody calling and say,
Oh, I'm sure a
you know
small
what
town
George's
like
doing,
that.
you know what Barry's doing, you know what Tim. But it was usually Barry, so I was okay. But, you know, when he's a city marshal in that small a town, you just
Yeah.
couldn't get away with anything.
Right,
He
right.
also went into undertaking.
Yeah,
There's so
well,
many
that's-
things he did.
yeah. He did that. See, that's what Barry does now. That's what he's
Uh-huh.
done all his life. He's been a
Right.
mortician.
And he's still in Bountiful? Is
He's
he
still in Bountiful, yep.
Yeah, your dad was one of those kind of guys. It was tough for him to make a dollar out there. It really was.
It was.
Because he was one of the few people, he wasn't a Mormon. And when you're not a Mormon, you don't get accepted in with all the business fronts as
Yeah.
easily as.
It's
I
tough.
think you had been really surprised about how many friends
Oh yeah.
like my dad. People
Yeah.
like,
Uh-huh.
Oh, they
like
did.
even though he was not a Mormon, they flat like.
They loved him.
He was a pretty gregarious person, he really was.
Yep, he
He
was
was outgoing.
really, really self-educated. You know what I mean?
Right.
Read a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah, I remember different times when they came in. I remember when you guys came in here to live. That was, how long did you stay? What was it,
3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
See,
yeah.
second, third, fourth, and fifth grade. Yeah,
You
Mhm.
guys could just never get used to being here.
we couldn't. It's just that
Well,
old
it's,
saying:
yeah,
you
it's a
can
big
take the
difference.
boy out of the
Yeah,
country,
oh,
you
you
just
know
can't
that,
take
right?
the country out of the boy.
Right.
Yeah, George tells about how he got into trouble for climbing tree, and he was, he just lived in trees back home.
Right, right, yeah.
Yeah, there was a few trees outside their house
Yeah,
on that block here. And
oh
they were always
gosh,
climbing trees.
always. Yeah.
That's a big change for
Tell
kids.
Uncle Pat the story about the boy that kept stealing your money and what your dad said.
That first school I went to was about 75% black, where we went, you know.
Mhm.
And that I had this kid beat me up, taking my lunch money or taking whatever I had, he'd take, you know. If I had a lunch, he'd take that. If I took a ball to school, he'd take that. And I just kept pointing to Dad. Of course, Dad would say, stand up for yourself, just fight him. And I just kept saying, Dad, he's too big. So finally, Mother made him go to school for me. We went early, and he walked on the school ground. And he said, okay, which one is it? And I pointed at him. He says, if I was you, I'd give him your lunch money. Big black kid. I mean, he's probably been held back 4 years.
You're making friends with Penny. That's good.
Hey, the dog's gonna want to go home with
You
you.
remember me.
That's okay. You want to take her? No.
We couldn't fit her in.
One of my favorite stories about your Uncle Ed was talking about getting bounced. Him and his wife had a big brouhaha, and long argument went on day and night. Finally, she told him to get out. So he packs his sea bag. He was just out of the Navy. He packs his sea bag, throws it over his shoulder, and comes marching down Cumberland Street, headed for our house where your grandfather was standing outside. And his grandfather said to him, "What the hell are you doing here?" He said, "I just got bounced." And my grandfather said to him, "Bounce back."
Bounce.
He said it was the best advice I ever got.
Yeah.
Bounce back.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did your dad do for a living?
He when he was younger, when they were first married, he drove a horse and wagon for a place by the name of Stetson's, the hat maker. And he was there 17 years, and he never missed a day. And it was a very patronistic company. They took care of their employees. They gave them, holiday meals and bonuses and things of that nature. So the first 17 years of their marriage, they were doing all right. And then he lost the job. I don't know whether he lost the job because of what he did or whether in fact the company went bad. I'm not sure. But then after that, he did whatever kind of job he could find. When I was a small child, he was working in a grocery store as a clerk. In those days, you stocked shelves and all that kind of stuff. And he was making $25 a week, which is, he never made more than $25 a week. He was one of those kind of people. He was a good guy, my dad, but he didn't know how to handle the adversity of life a lot of times. What he did was resort to alcohol, which is kind of typical of a lot of people in his generation in those days. There were a lot of people who resort to alcohol to ease the pain of having no job or very low status in life.
So did your mother work, Pat, or did she always stay home with the children?
Not until she was in her 50s. She went to work as a maid when she was in her 50s. And she used to work long, hard hours.
What hotel was that you were?
Ritz-Carlton.
Ritz-Carlton.
When I was a small child, I used to live in two different worlds. I lived in my regular world, which was a poor, white, low class, strata, economic strata. But then I would go down to the Ritz-Carlton where she worked, and I had free run of the whole place. I was about 6 years old, 7 years old, and I saw how other people lived. I used to run up these steps, huge, maybe 2 flights of steps, 2 stories high, and it had carpet on it, 4 inches step, and I'd roll down these steps, and then just entertain myself. But to see how people lived, it was so much different than what I was accustomed to.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably made you want to try to get some of that for yourself.
Yeah, for myself, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, she worked hard, she really did.
What was she like? Did she talk a lot? Was she quiet? Was she?
No, she was a very talkative person.
I can remember, not a real big person, not a real big woman, but she did like to talk a lot.
And don't get on the wrong side of her because she would usually whack you as soon as you look at her. She raised 8 children, and some of them were some pretty big boys. And some of her routines was like, she used to pull that on me all the time. I'd get angry at her, we'd have a fight, and she'd smack me. And I'd raise my hand, and she'd say, "Don't raise your hand to me." And I'd put my hands down, and she'd smack me again. She was a tough old bird. She really was.
She had to be with all those kids.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and my father was one of those absent fathers. He was a good guy. He was not a bad person. In fact, he was a very good person. And looking back on what kind of life that he led, he was a really good person. Unfortunately, he wasn't a strong person, and life was difficult for him to handle.
Yeah.
Well, Dad left when, like you say, 1921, and he basically never came back.
Right,
You
never
know,
came home
he
again.
came back for those 4 years, and the 3 of us boys just drove him crazy to get us back to Utah.
But I think the reason he went back to Utah was he thought he was taking your mother home to bury her
Yeah.
because she had cancer and she'd had her breasts off, and I figured he probably thought he needed to get you back there to have her family to be able to help raise you boys because you were so unhappy in Philadelphia.
Yeah, they were very unhappy in Philadelphia. And no wonder it's such a different way of living.
I think it was harder on me than it was the other 2 boys, too. I just shut down. I didn't.
When you were here? When you were
I
in
just
Philly?
shut down. I didn't
Uh-huh.
want to be here. I wasn't my. You used to your uncle living right next to you and your grandmother living right next to you on the same block, and the freedom to just go and come as I
Yeah.
wanted.
Well, he grew up
Oh, yeah.
on what you would call a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Right next to their house is what we call a hill,
Yeah.
but you would call it a mountain.
Right.
In fact, there'd be a ski resort on it back here, But he played on that hill all the time, climbed to the top of that thing all the time and lived there, just played back and
Right.
forth. And so to come to a place he couldn't even climb a tree
Tree, yeah.
was really hard.
They were really tough on him. So we did
Just
make
the
a change.
freedom of not being able to just go as I.
Right.
Because Norlene could step out on her front porch and yell, And he could hear her up on that hill. It was that close.
Well, she could yell that loud.
She could yell that loud, is right. You know.
Yeah, it's a different way of living completely from what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
accustomed to.
If he'd have been born here, it would have been fine.
I lived in the city my whole life, you know. So, my parents were from a small town down in Millville, New Jersey, but you know, they moved up here for my father's job, and you know, like you said, you can't take the small town out of the person. You know, my parents always, you know, my dad moved back to Jersey, well, about 30 years ago, and he just passed away last year. Last December, December a year ago.
And
He
he
was
lived
almost
in,
92.
92.
Yeah.
Longevity runs in some families, some parts of our family. I was thinking about, well, your uncle ever lived to be 80 years old, and the rest of them lived to be in their mid-70s. The average age is about in the mid-70s. That's about how long,
Mm-hmm.
you know, lifespan is.
Yeah, Jimmy and Jeannie were both 70, 75, and 72.
And they weren't health nuts either.
They what?
They weren't health nuts
No, they
either.
weren't like that.
Isn't that the way
Probably
it works,
could've-
though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad
The
was
ones who smoke
79.
and
Yeah.
they'll live
Yeah, he
old.
was
The ones that
almost
never
80.
touched it will
Ed
die
was
when they're
almost 80.
50.
Edward was
Yeah.
almost 80 when he passed away, 79. So they were, you know, just about the same age when they passed away.
I remember when I was a real
Your mother
small
was
child.
88.
I went to visit your great-grandmother. I think I was around 8 years old. And she gave me something I had never had that before. She gave me a 50-cent piece, a $50, and it was brand new. And I thought I had all the money in the world. She said to me, here, take this now, because I won't be around to be giving you any more. And she lived another 30 years.
Years.
Is that Anna Cecilia? No.
No,
No,
Marianne.
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 Yeah.
Ah,
She was the one I was talking to. She had 2 chickens, one in each hand. And they're squirming around, squirming around. She's talking to me, she goes like this, and breaks both their necks.
just
And
like
then-
that.
Yeah, she just, they used to do
That's
that.
the way
They used
they-
to raise
she
chickens
raised her own
and
chickens and stuff,
then eat
yeah.
them, you know what I
She
mean?
didn't think
Like this.
anything about that.
Yeah. Well, I could never do that, no.
Karen's father was a rancher his whole life, so they raised their own, had chickens, you know, cattle.
Mhm.
Her brother still does, still
Uh-huh.
runs cattle and,
But I never helped him kill chickens or anything. I know I couldn't have done it.
No, I don't think I could ever do that.
Oh, Mom raised chickens and then she couldn't eat them after we killed them. After we killed them, then she couldn't eat them.
Who was that? Your
My
mother?
mother.
Your mother.
We had our own chickens. Oh, we always had chickens.
Uh-huh.
For the
My
eggs.
mother had her own chickens and her own ducks. She used to dress them out herself for dinner. She was, you know, she came from a really tough place. She was an orphan, raised in a convent in Ireland. And you talk about a strict place and a tough place to live. There couldn't be any tougher place than that.
Yeah.
You heard the story about the eggs. The cook used to make these big pots of eggs for all these children who lived in this residence there for breakfast. And one morning the cook has got the eggs in there and she's cooking them, she's boiling them, and they keep popping up to the surface. So she's pushing them down with a spoon and they keep popping up. So she takes a few out, breaks them, and there's nothing in there. So it turns out they trace it all the way back to Mary Ann, who was bringing the eggs in from the roost. And what she was doing, she had a hat pin, and she'd punch a hole in the egg and suck the egg out.
Oh my gosh.
She
And
was
they'd be
so
hollow.
She is so hungry.
Yeah.
So
So
hungry.
that's why they,
I'm hungry those days. You got 3 meals, but you got whatever they could give you, whatever was available. And it was
So-
just a small share of what was there.
So
And that's all you got.
how did she get out of the orphanage?
I don't really know
she
how
probably, she came over here as an indentured servant when
Indentured
she was
servant.
12.
we got an agreement somehow with a guy who was a mainline lawyer. And she came over here as an indentured servant to work her passage off. She had to work for this guy for, I don't know, 5 years or something like that. She was really something. She had a tough life. This guy who was a mainline lawyer, and it was a big home, and he had a cook and a maid and a butler and everything to go with it. And your great-grandmother worked there. as in a galley in the kitchen as a helper, and she was never, the kind of life she had. She still would never take any nonsense from anybody. The cook was giving her a hard time, and one time in an argument, the cook took one of these dirty wet cloths and wiped on the floor with and smacked her across the face with it. She left the room and went down the hall to the library, to the guy's library, took the shotgun off the wall, loaded it, and went back to the kitchen and fired it at the cook. And she missed the cook and blew all the pots and pans off the hooks and the thing, and the cook fainted.
Are you kidding?
No, seriously.
No, we're serious.
She said in later years, she looked back, she realized the guy that owned the house was trying not to laugh when he was talking to her.
Well, she was only a kid, you know.
Now, Mary Ann, this is a serious matter.
You can't keep trying
Can't
to
keep shooting people.
Shooting the cook, huh?
She's a real character.
That's neat.
You know, in those days, a symbol of prosperity was if you could afford to have a goose for dinner. If you could afford to have a goose for dinner, you were pretty well off. And your great-grandfather used to say to your great-grandmother, where's me goose, man? Where's me goose, Marianne? I need me goose. And she'd say, you get it, you get it. And one day they had another big argument. And she comes out to the table with his dinner. And she got one of these metal covered plates on the dinner. She puts it in front of him. You sit up there's a little metal goose. She said, there's your goose. He got so mad he threw a sugar ball at her. The two of them were really something.
Yeah, characters.
That's awesome.
And they were living with us. He would be sitting in the corner of the room in the bedroom, smoking his pipe with a Granger in it, and rocking back and forth in his rocker. And she'd come over and she'd put a sweater around him. And he's sitting in the sunlight and he's sweating as it is, and she's putting a sweater around him. And he's going, will you leave me alone? Will you leave me alone? And she can't hear a thing. She's stoned up. we were cracking up.
Well, which one of you used to tell us to close the refrigerator door, we're letting the draft in?
That was Aunt Mame.
That was that, man.
She used to take peas, regular normal peas. She would take the skin off the peas because it's stuck in her throat.
Oh my gosh.
We